All right. I would like to call to order this meeting of the Fremont County Board of County Commissioners and invite you to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance at this time. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and I would like to ask everyone here today to please speak loudly when you're speaking, because we do have the conference call set up. We also are on Facebook right now, live, and we would like everyone to be able to hear what we're actually speaking about. So, I would like to kind of make a quick statement before we get to, first let's do roll call, sorry. Please, clerk.
Commissioner Bell.
Present.
Commissioner McFall.
Present.
Commissioner Payne.
Present.
County Attorney Jackson.
Present.
County Manager Bryant is absent, and Planning and Zoning Director Garrett is also absent.
Thank you, and let's go ahead and approve today's agenda.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve today's agenda. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now, before we get to the two items of business that we have today, I would like to just make a statement a little bit along the lines of what we're doing here today and to kind of update you on what is happening here in Fremont County right now. So we do acknowledge this has been a terribly difficult week for everyone everywhere. I would like to thank everyone for your patience in trying to deal with county business during this difficult, unprecedented time in human history. We truly do appreciate all of our employees and the flexibility they continue to exhibit by providing governmental services throughout. Although our doors are closed to the general public, please know that Fremont County is continuing to offer its services to our citizens. Please call the department that you have business with in order to make arrangements if you need in-person services. For example, Human Resources has been accepting applications at the door for open job positions. Planning and Zoning continues to accept applications and backup information for various permits. And the Building Department also is meeting folks at the door to work with local builders and contractors. We have advised others, including our County Clerk Grantham, who is here with us today. He should be doing things like issuing marriage licenses now and working with citizens who have specific needs with motor vehicle licensing. I do apologize, I didn't give him warning, but Justin, is there anything you would like to talk about with your specific department and how things are going there?
Well, I did issue a statement to Sheriff Cooper on his request because of the limited amount of transactions we can do to the public this week and probably throughout the rest of the week, because there are things that we are restricted by Department of Revenue and Division of Motor Vehicle to give leniency to expired tags, any kind of registrations that it could go expired, also temporary tags from my office or temporary plates from dealers in my office until the end of April due to unfortunate events that are happening in the county. I did have a meeting with my motor vehicle department to see what we can offer to limit the amount of people coming into the office, because we are, even though we're close to the public and we can do some transactions in office, the amount of time that it takes to do some title work could end up being 5 minutes to an hour, and I do have 10 staff sitting in that office. I did have a brief conversation with the Department of Health, who had concerns about me having people in the office, but we talked about that thoroughly and we came to an agreement that as long as we can make sure all the paperwork is filled out, which we can get copies and faxes and emails to assure that the paperwork is complete, and as long as we can call the people that are issuing or have those title work, we can do over the phone credit card and debit card transactions. We can also check all paperwork, but like I said, there are some things like because the sheriff's office and the state troopers are no longer doing VIN inspections, there are some things we just can't do. So we're working on getting a list out to the public of things that we can do. That way we can make sure they have the appropriate paperwork to limit the amount of time that they're in the office.
Okay. All right, thank you so much for that update. Gentlemen, do you have anything to add before we move on to our agenda?
No, I think it kind of went unsaid there. I think there's work that can be done via email as well as the phone calls, but there's a lot of the applications for the certain different departments, the planning department, building department, where those applications are online. The clerk's office also, you can renew your tags online, I believe, plus there's a kiosk at City Market, correct?
Correct. There's a kiosk on top of you can renew online. There's actually about 20 services you can do online through the Department of Revenue. So
right. So there is a lot of online business that can take place. And then what was kind of being referred to is if it's not possible, get a hold of the department and we'll see what we can do to help so that we can keep the business going, because we do not want to stop.
I just want to add, this is trying times for everybody, and I'd just like to thank all of our employees that are hanging in there with us, and we're doing all the best we can. And like all the other 64 counties, or 63 counties, 64 in all, we're all kind of flying by the seat of our pants on this kind of thing because it's unprecedented. But we'll carry on.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's move on with the agenda today. We have under old business for consideration, ratification of resolution number 21, series of 2020, disaster declaration for COVID-19, which is the coronavirus, a resolution declaring local disaster emergency. So I'm going to turn to our county attorney, Brenda Jackson, for just a few words on this action that we are preparing to take today.
Okay, on Monday, the Board of Commissioners met in emergency session, and since it was emergency session, there was not adequate notice under the Open Meetings Act, and I don't even know if we had an agenda. We did not have an agenda posted prior to, at least not more than a few minutes prior to the time of the meeting. There's authority in the statutes on county government that allow the board to have emergency meetings, and the Board of Commissioners in 1998 adopted Resolution 51 with a procedure for doing that. And essentially, if you have an emergency meeting without adequate public notice, under the Open Meetings Act, it potentially could void any action of the Board of Commissioners. And so you have to meet as soon as practical afterwards with adequate public notice, review the decision that was done at the time through an emergency meeting, and ratify it or modify it or take further action as the board deems appropriate in an appropriate public meeting, which this is, given the circumstances. So the ratification is for the emergency action on Monday, declaring a local disaster emergency and closing county buildings except for the sheriff's office and the judicial building to the general public. And as you've noted, Chairman Bell, the offices continue to have employees staffing those offices and helping the public on a limited basis and trying to do as much remotely as possible, but still deliver services to the public. So the ratification is included in the proposed resolution for today's meeting, and also should be done by voice vote of the Board of Commissioners, and this relates back to the emergency meeting at 10:30 on Monday morning, March 16th.
All right, thank you for that. So ratification of resolution number 21 with our new resolution will be resolution number 22. So understanding, Ms. Jackson, that the ratification is written into the new resolution, our agenda has two separate items. Can we go ahead and take two separate voice votes, or should this just be rolled into one?
You can do it however you prefer.
Okay, we will follow today's agenda then, and we will continue with old business for consideration, the ratification of the action that we took in emergency session just this past Monday.
So resolution number 21 is now number 22.
No.
No.
That was 21 on Monday.
You're
Yes.
ratifying 21 by
ratifying
22.
So we are ratifying the chairman's signature on resolution
And
21.
action.
Yes.
And the actions taken.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the ratification of resolution number 21 for the series of 2020 disaster declaration for the coronavirus resolution declaring local disaster emergency
And closing county buildings.
in closing county buildings. Thank you.
I second that.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the ratification of resolution number 21 series of 2020, which declared a local disaster here in Fremont County because of the coronavirus, as well as closed county buildings through this week. Is there further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, and new business for consideration today is future measures to prevent and mitigate the threat of COVID-19 virus for Fremont County for the foreseeable future. I think everyone knows and sees and understands what is happening in the world today. Up until, I believe, just yesterday, the schools were closed through Sunday, April the 5th, and we're looking at perhaps trying to reopen on April 6th. That, I understand, because of a statewide order, no longer is in effect. So schools locally now are going to be closed through at least the 16th, I believe it is, of April. I know there are a lot of students that are really happy about that. I know many parents are not unhappy about that, but they're really struggling with childcare right now because they depend on their kids being in school. So everyone is trying to deal with all of this the very best that we can. I know it's caused upheaval in many, many people's lives, and understanding that, when we were having discussions on what we were going to do with county buildings, I think we decided instead of going on a week-by-week basis, we were looking at least closing until Monday, April the 6th, and hoping that we will be able to return to normal business and reopen to the public on that day. Unfortunately, things are changing hour to hour. I think everyone understands that, and what was true at 8 o'clock this morning probably no longer is true at 2:30 in the afternoon. However, the resolution that we have in front of us is to continue closing to the public. The general public, all Fremont County buildings except the jail and except the courthouse, because they are currently operating under their own rules and restrictions. So this also will continue the disaster declaration of an emergency here in Fremont County. We have before us a 5-page document. Gentlemen, is there anything you would like to specifically call out?
There's an error in the caption that should be Resolution 21 instead of 31.
Correct.
Okay, Resolution 21.
Yep.
Okay.
I think this, one thing I want to call out is that this also calls out these public meetings, which we're doing right now, and we have it available on channel 191. I believe he's got it live on YouTube. It'll be posted
Tammy has that live
right afterwards, but then we've also got a live Facebook so that the public is aware of what's going on. If there were to be a public hearing or something like that, we'd also have to do that in those same manners. So we're not excluding the public whatsoever, and this resolution includes all of that in there. And so I want to just point that out.
Thank you. We have the live teleconference as well. We are, just to let folks know, we do have some public hearings coming up next Tuesday during our regularly scheduled board meeting here. We're planning on continuing with those. It's going to be a challenge for everyone. We understand that. More explanation will be forthcoming on Tuesday in how we're going to deal with that. But at this point in time, we were planning on continuing all of the availability that we have today. So all of the different channels of access today also will be available on next Tuesday for our regularly scheduled meeting. Is there anything else under new business before we take a motion?
No.
All right. Your wishes, gentlemen?
So, Madam Chair, I move to approve resolution number 22, which is a ratification of resolution number 21, series of 2020, declaring a local disaster emergency and extension, which is an amendment of the declaration of the local disaster emergency, which means that we would keep the county buildings closed to the public,
General public,
while still doing business to midnight of April 5th, where we will reassess that just shortly before, the week before.
Yes, that will be reassessed the week before. Agreed.
Second.
All right, it has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 22, which also ratifies resolution 21, as well as what Commissioner McFall just noted, closes to the general public our buildings excepting the jail, the Fremont County Jail, and the Fremont County Courthouse through midnight Sunday, April 5th, looking at reopening on Monday, April 6th. If that is going to change in the near future, we will call another special session. And again, we will notify in every way we possibly can. And I would also just like to take quick note, if you really want to know what's happening at the county, check our website, check our Facebook pages, because those are updated multiple times daily just to let folks know what's happening here in Fremont County. All right, is there any further discussion?
Yeah, I would just like to note that all of this stems from recommendations from our public health director. The Fremont County Public Health Director is in constant contact with the state and the federal government. These are trickled down from all of what they're doing. So we're just trying to keep this thing from spreading anymore.
All right, roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And as one final note, I would like to say today's meeting was brought to you through a lot of hard work from our IT department. So I would like to say thank you to Lisa Hall for organizing and getting all of our calling information done. I can't leave our HR director, Tammy Childs, out. She's the one who is bringing our Facebook feed to you today. And also, Dwayne did just mention our public health director, Emma Davis, and I also would like to name by name Michael Kroll, our emergency services manager. There are a lot of people in Fremont County right now doing a lot of really hard work. It's very stressful. They're taking a lot of time, a lot of hours. Few folks not getting a whole lot of sleep right now. So we appreciate all of you and all the hard work that you're doing. So thank you so much for joining us today. And with that, this meeting is adjourned.